Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still your homeboy Djcharlie, your number one plug for everything sports, like I always say, for Naija. You know how it is now. So today's segment is going to be my official Premier League predictions for this current season, 2025-2026 seasons. Usually, I do my predictions every season after every transfers has been concluded. So I had to wait, even though the Premier League is already 2 games, sorry, 3 games young. I had to wait for transfers to be concluded because you don't know a single player might swing the fortune of one club from point A to point B. So now that the current transfer window is concluded, September 1st, this is my official Premier League transfer. Sorry, this is my official Premier League standings for this current season. Meaning I'm going to be starting from the 20th position down to the eventual winner, which is the first position. Of course, you know the 3 teams that finish last will be relegated into the championship for next season, and then teams that finish top 5 will make Champions League because England is actually enjoying a special place right now in UEFA ranking of being that they are the first position. That means they have 5 teams to represent them in the Champions League instead of 4. Then of course other teams will qualify for the second and the third rated European competitions, i.e. the Europa League and also the Europa Conference League. So without further ado, let me just start. Then at number 20, I have Wolves. Wolves has been a permanent mainstay in the Premier League for several seasons now, but I see their luck eventually running out this season. I don't see the way they are going to score goals this season. They didn't make any significant signing. They just thought they would stand pat, selling some of their key players. So I see them going down. The same thing can be said for Brentford at number 19. Brentford has enjoyed, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 years straight in the Premier League, but I see it going. Because I see them going down to the Champions League championship this season because they sold their key players like Wisa. They sold Mbeumo to Manchester United. Wisa left transfer deadline day to Newcastle. Haven't lost their star striker Ivan Toney to the Saudi Arabian League the previous transfer window. So I don't see where their goals are coming from. They didn't make any significant signing. So they sold their key midfielder Christian Noga to Arsenal. So I see them going down. So at number 18, this is a dicey one. I couldn't be sure between Burnley and Leeds, but because of my sentiment, because I love Leeds, I had to go for Burnley going down in the number 18 position, going down to the championship. So I see them going down. Of course, they have started where they've won a couple of games already, and they've displayed attractive attacking football. But I see their luck running out. Let me put it that way. I don't see them having enough firepower to stay in the Premier League. I see them being one and done, going back down. Leeds, I think it's Leeds time to start making inputs and inroads back to Premier League sustenance. I see them staying in the Premier League this season, just surviving relegation. I see them being 17th. Then at 16th, I see Sunderland. Sunderland have started brightly. They signed former Arsenal captain Granit Xhaka to stabilize their midfield, and you can already see the quality being displayed. They have already won 2 games in 3. So I see them having enough firepower to sustain that. Then at number 15, I have Fulham. Fulham is a little bit low. The reason being that I don't see Fulham surviving because I don't see Fulham going further into the European places because they didn't make any improvement. I think their highest transfer they did was on the last day of the season when they signed young Brazilian winger Kevin. But I don't see that pushing them ahead of the likes of Crystal Palace, Brighton, and Bournemouth are ahead of them. So for me, they will be lucky to be 15th position. Then at number 14, I have West Ham. West Ham has they started poorly, but they won their last match with Lucas Paqueta really shining, and they were lucky to hold on to Paqueta. And maybe they sold him, they are down to be relegated for me. So the fact that they were able to hold on to Lucas Paqueta, one of the best attacking midfielders in England, I see them holding on to their Premier League place at number 14. Then at number 13, I have Everton. Everton are perennial relegation strugglers in recent years, but I see them being a stable Premier League team this season. I see them at 13 because they held on to their keeper Jordan Pickford and to some of their key players. So they didn't lose any key player and they finished strong at the end of last season. They were one of the best teams for the last 2 months of the last Premier League season, and I see them continuing that strong form this season. And they have also started brightly. Then at number 12, I have Crystal Palace. This one, I just have to, I just have an affinity for their coach. His name is I'm missing his name right now. I have a brain blot. Forgive me for that. But it's Strand. So I love him so much. He stuck with them. That's why the fact that they sold their key players. They, of course, last season they sold Michael Olise to Bayern Munich. This season they sold Eberezieshe to Arsenal. And of course, they already sold Geyi to Liverpool, but that move fell. I think if that move did not fall, I would have had them struggling to stay in the Premier League, probably in the 18th to 17th rank. But because they were able to hold on to Maguire, which for me is one of the top five best central backs in the Premier League and is the stabilizing force for them and is their captain in the mode of John Terry. So I have them having a relatively positive season. Nothing much to run about in the middle of the pack at number 12. So for me, they will be number 12. Then at number 11, I have Brighton. Of course, Brighton sold some of their key players. That's why I have them this low. Because usually the style of football Brighton play, I almost always have them, my ranking, I almost always have them pushing for European place. But because they sold some of their key players like one of my best young strikers in English football, Joao Pedro. They sold him to Chelsea. So I'm beginning to wonder where their goals will be coming from. So they will struggle to finish 11th. Then at number 10, I'm approaching the business end of this ranking. These are my teams that will just about miss out. Let me just say from my number 10 down to my number 7. I have them in the same level, meaning is fluid. My number 10 might finish 7 and my number 7 might finish 10. If you get my meaning, it means there's little separating them. So let me just give them quickly. Number 10, I have Bournemouth. They didn't change a lot. Of course, they sold Denilson to Real Madrid. They've replaced him. So I think because of the way they play, they will still finish 10th or thereabout. Then at number 9, I have Manchester United finishing ninth. Of course, people will say, 9 is too low for me then, but the improvement is about 7 places from the 16th position they finished last season, 17th position that they finished last season. I have them at number 9. I think that's an improvement because they bought the likes of Brian Mbeumo. They bought the likes of Cunha, Matheus Cunha. They bought the young rugged striker Benjamin Sesko. So I see them adding a little bit firepower with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, and I see them actually making improvements and finishing ninth. Then at number 8, I have Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest will drop back to 8th, finish at number 8 because, of course, they qualified for Europa League last season, so they'll finish 8th this season. I don't have much to say about them. At number 7, I have Aston Villa. Aston Villa will finish 7th because that's the range they always finish every season for the last 4 to 5 seasons. So I see them being consistent enough to finish 7th. Then at number 6, I have Newcastle. And this is because of Eddie Howe, because they lost one of the best strikers in the Premier League in Alexander Isak to Liverpool on he forced his way to Liverpool on the last day of the transfer deadline. So they lost Isaac. Of course, they replaced him with the young German striker Wotemade and also the experienced Premier League striker in Wissa from Brentford. So I see them replacing Isaac's goal, not his overall skill, but his goals. They will average at around the same goals that Isaac was providing for Newcastle. So I still see them making. They will lose out on the Champions League place, but I see them making the Europa League and finishing sixth. Then at number five, this is dicey, very very dicey for me because I have Tottenham at number five. Of course, I wanted Tottenham to finish top four because I love the signings they made this season. The likes of Joao Paulinho to shore up the midfield. He is a midfield stabilizer with enough Premier League experience. Of course, they signed Matthias Tell. Of course, they signed they signed this young attacking midfielder Xavi Simons that I love so much, and of course they also signed some wingers. You have Kudus from West Ham, and of course they signed what's this French striker that they signed from Juve, from PSG rather. It was on loan at Juve last season. I'll remember his name before the end of this show. They made great signings. Do you understand? And they bolstered their squad depth a lot. And of course, Madison will come back from injury. And of course, you have a lot of players in Tottenham. And of course, their key signing was Thomas Frank, one of the best coaches in the Premier League. They signed him, and I see him doing wonders for them already. They've already started doing wonders. So for me, Tottenham will finish as the fifth position this season in the Premier League, just barely missing out of the top four. Of course, my top four, I have Manchester City at number four. And the only reason why I have Manchester City at number four is because of Pep Guardiola, because I don't see him missing out of the top four. Otherwise, Manchester City are nothing to write home about this season. That's just what I have to tell you. They are not contenders at all this season. They won't push Liverpool or even Arsenal for the Premier League title this season. I don't see them having enough attacking midfield spark to provide enough goals this season. And they are terrible at the back. They didn't even change anything at the back. They are terrible at the back. So for me, they will just barely squeeze into the top four because of the regard that I have for Pep Guardiola. That is the only reason why I have them in the top four. They are one of my favorite teams, but I can't be partial right now. So at number three, this is a very dangerous team for me. This is a very dangerous team for me because of the transfers they did in this transfer window. They eventually Todd Bowley came in. He started buying players left, right, and center. But I see that he has learnt that Premier League football is different from American football. So now they were judicious in this transfer window, signing young players. They bought two young strikers, Joao Pedro and Liam Delap, and I see those boys doing wonders in the Premier League this season. Of course, they still have the likes of Kopama, you still have the likes of Enzo, and they have quality all over the pitch. For me, of course they won the Club World Cup, beating European champions PSG flawlessly. So I see them pushing Liverpool and Arsenal, but because of experience, because Liverpool have done it and Arsenal have been consistently being second place for three straight seasons in the Premier League, that is why I have Chelsea settling for third this season. They will have to forgive me. I could be wrong at the end of the season, but I have them finishing third. So at number two, I have Arsenal. Of course, I thought Arsenal was going to push Liverpool to the brink this season and eventually win this season. But unfortunately, Liverpool signed Alexander Isaac on the last day of the season. So I don't see how there will be shortage of goals in Anfield this season. You have the Premier League best player is still there in Mohamed Salah. And of course, you have Hugo Ekitike. And of course, you have Isaac. Of course, you still have the likes of Cody Gakpo, and they signed probably the best young attacking midfielder in European football in Florian Wirtz. And of course, you have midfielders galore in Yugoslavia. Let me just say Arsenal will finish second. I don't want to go to Liverpool. So Arsenal will finish second. Arsenal signed Eberechi Eze, Victor Gyökeres. You have the likes of, I don't know, Madueke, Zubimendi. But I don't see Arsenal pushing Liverpool this season. I think Arsenal still need one more key player that will push them over the top. So for me, I see Salah slowing down next season. So I think Arsenal will settle for the Premier League next season. This season it still belongs to Liverpool at number one. So for me, Liverpool will be number one. I don't have much to say about that. Their squad depth speaks for itself. So for me, Liverpool will win the Premier League this season again and finish at number one. So that is that about that. That's Djcharlie's top 20 ranking of the Premier League teams, how they will finish this season. If you have enjoyed this, click your like button, click the subscribe button, then you comment respectfully. Let's dig it out. If you feel I've placed the team too high, let me know. If you think I've placed the team too low, let me know. This is my list, it's not your list. You might have your own opinion. That's my opinion. It does not make my opinion fact, or it does not make it a law. So I'm just giving you my opinion. So let's comment like reasonable people. Let's battle it out in the comment section. Then if like I said, subscribe to my channel. That's the only way you can help me, so that I can be motivated to do more of this good content for you. Like I said, thanks and God bless.